2014 is a big year for national elections in the Americas. That includes the U.S. midterm elections and the Brazilian presidential vote. Seats for 7 presidents and nearly 1,700 lawmakers are up for election, mostly in Latin America. The 7 Latin America countries holding elections include Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, Panama, Uruguay. Combined, they make up 60% of the population of the Western Hemisphere. El Salvador's economy is one of the key issues in the lead-up to Sunday's presidential elections. Many economists say the country is too dependent on dollars that migrant workers send in the U.S. that they're sending back home. Franc Contreras joins us now live from El Salvador's capital for more on this story. Frank?
Thanks, Phil. That's right. Since 2001, El Salvador's economy has been dollarized. That means dollars are what circulate here. Much of that money is coming from migrants living in the United States. And last year alone, this country received nearly $4 billion in remittances, most of it coming from Salvadorans abroad. The money was spent in towns and villages all across this country. Intipuca, also known as Gringo Town because of the strong influence here from the United States. In the center of this village, located on El Salvador's Pacific coast, this park is dedicated to the migrants who keep its economy running. 25-year-old Claudia Cabrera lives in Intipuca with her son. Her migrant husband lives and works in the U.S. state of Maryland. The money he sends each month, around $240, is her lifeblood.
It helps me so much to pay our electric and water bills and food for my son, and medicine when he is sick.
Jose Hernandez and his wife Blanca were migrant workers in the U.S. for 20 years. They built this business with the money they saved. To help make ends meet, their children in the U.S. often send them money.
It means a lot to me. I always invest in our business.
Migrant remittances also paid for the computers at this elementary school. Economists say that most every aspect of economic activity here in Central America's smallest nation is driven by the money migrants send home. El Salvador's economy depends heavily on remittances. Nearly 1 out of every $5 comes from the United States. And in some villages, more than half of the income comes from migrants abroad. Few opportunities back home often leave them with no choice but to risk their own lives to make their families more comfortable. Economist Raul Hinojosa says remittances clearly help fight poverty.
But the irony is that it actually can be a vicious cycle that actually makes the economy weaker because of local inflation, and then they live off of importing goods from around the world. So the question is, what's going to happen, which inevitably is going to happen as migration slows down and remittances slow down?
Before that happens, the Salvadoran government is seeking ways to help families here save and invest the money migrants send them and create a sustainable financial system that will eventually give these Central Americans a good reason to stay home. At this stage, remittances in El Salvador are being used for basic daily needs, things like food, medicine, sometimes paying the rent, but seldom are they being used to create new businesses, Phil.
Frank, what's being done to fix that?
Well, there's a really great, innovative plan that's underway right now. It's being proposed to any government that takes office once the Sunday elections take place. And it goes like this, Phil. Essentially, they'll be using smartphones here. That's because in this country, there are 3 smartphones for every citizen. Imagine that. So what they're going to do is create deals with local banks so that people out in the rural areas, far away from this capital, can use their smartphones, receive the remittances, and then get the money at the local level. What does that mean? They'll no longer have to come here to the capital, spending money on services to get their remittances. Now, that money can be used and be sprinkled all across the country and be spent in other parts of El Salvador. Phil.
All right, Frank, thank you very much. Have a good weekend.